Did you need that?
Yeah, please.
I was closer, yeah, before you took the tape.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce you guys and then you all come out and have a feedback about introduction. Okay. Hey, E-Life Media family. Welcome to the Dr. ZaMiya show, Up On It. Sorry we are running a little bit behind. We're doing things a little different tonight. We are still recording live and you are able to live stream with us by going to www.elifemedia.net and you can still partake in what we're doing. Now, you can tell that I'm a woman, right? Because we scheduled this very important event on the night of the 6th game of the playoffs. I had no clue, so my scheduling was very off. But we are continuing our series on the silent cries of a man's heart, where we are dealing with different issues that plague our African American male community. And so tonight we have a very special program for you. We have moved outside of the studio into the lounge where we wanted to make it give you access to us by doing a live panel. So, since most of the guys are watching the game tonight, and then we have the storm threat and all that, most of you decided to stay in. You can still, hear us via the internet, live streaming. And for those that are here in the house with us, they'll have a little bit more access to us, so they'll be able to interact with our panel. So, let me, without further ado, get started. We have with us tonight, we have Mr. Robert Berry, who will be sitting on our panel. He is an addictions and recovery specialist counselor. Then we have Reverend Marcus Washington, who is the director of the men's ministry at Ebenezer AME, where Pastor Granger and Joanne Brownie are the pastors. Then we have Mr. Deshaun Edwards, who is a licensed social worker here with us tonight. And then we have none other than the hardest working man in the audience tonight, Mr. Dr. Baruch. So welcome to our panel. And I thought it was very, awesome. So I definitely want to say thank you guys for being willing to be a part of this vision, to bring about the awareness of the importance of the malehood back in our African American community. With so many men being absent from the home, being absent out of their children's lives, the neighborhoods, community, society as a whole, it is time that we bring about an awareness that we need our men to stand up and begin to operate in their kingship and begin to take dominion over their providence, which is their homes. We need you. I'm speaking on behalf of the women. We need you to do that. We need our homes to become healthy so that our communities can become healthy. And this is just my personal opinion. With the elections that we have coming up, I think that the world is going to take a turn, but we're going to have to turn to our communities for support for one another. So if our communities are unhealthy, it's stemming from our homes, we will see, oh my God, drastic changes that will adversely affect our homes. So we need to start with getting our homes back in its proper place. Everybody getting back in their proper positions, because right now everybody's out of order. So I thank God for these men who were willing to be a part of this vision, and they are subject matter experts. So we are definitely encouraging our audience to engage the panel tonight. Ask the questions that nobody is willing to ask. For our panel, have those discussions that men don't want to talk about, men don't want to hear. See, tonight is a classic example. Women, we coming no matter what's going on. But men, the game coming on, ain't nobody coming out there tonight. So, even though everybody's not here with us live, they're still able to view it via the internet, the radio, and then these videos will be uploaded on YouTube. So please speak freely, be yourself, be truthful, and let's have the conversations that nobody is willing to have. I'm going to step down because I'm a woman. I don't know nothing about what y'all go through. So I'm going to let the men handle this. And let me just give you just a brief synopsis of who they are. Dr. Baruch so graciously allowed us to have this show here in his restaurant. He's the owner of Everlasting Life Restaurant, but he is a naturopathic health expert and instructor. I know I'm saying it wrong, right? Okay, let me get to my notes because I don't want to misrepresent nobody wrong. But Dr. Baruch is the naturopathic educator and health literacy expert, okay? And then we have Robert Berry here, who is, wave your hand, who is the addictions and recovery counselor. We have Deshaun Edwards, who is the licensed social worker. And then again, we have Reverend Washington, who is the director of Ebenezer AME. So I am out of the way. You guys take it away. Who wants to start off? So we'll start off with the natural part of it.
All right, we're going to start off a conversation with me, huh?
Yes.
And the question is there a question or is this a conversation?
This is a conversation. This is a conversation. So as a woman, and I'll start off the conversation. As a woman, how important is it for the man to be in good health? How does his ability to have and maintain good health, how does it affect the home? Does it affect the income? Does it affect the position of the woman? What do we need to do as wives to ensure, or women to ensure our sons, whatever, the man that's in our life, is in a place where they can receive healthy nutrition and be in good health? And what do men need to do? And what kind of awareness can we bring to them, like startling things that will make a man say, you know what, I need to be in good health?
All of those 15 questions I'm going to try to put into one answer here. How much time do I have? Good evening, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. ZaMiya. And I believe, one, health is so critical. As a matter of fact, I believe health is the most critical thing, which is not by mistake that I got into the area of health and wellness. I'm a fighter. And when I say that, I don't mean a fighter in the ring. I mean, I'm a fighter because I saw something taking place in Prince George's County in 1995, and I saw, real brief, that more houses were getting ramps added onto the side of their homes, and I couldn't figure out what the deal was. And why all these ramps going on? We just getting lazy? No, what was happening is our health was deteriorating to the point where mom and dad were coming down with diseases that prevented them from being able to walk. And so I got into this space of doing restaurants, where I put restaurants in communities that were otherwise disserved and underserved. And one of the most critical things that I see with regard to health and wellness, especially for the black male, or what I call the melanated male, that we don't see that our health is under attack. And we believe that everything is fair and everything is open and you can just consume whatever it is that you want to consume and you're all right. Well, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, arthritis, lupus, the list goes on of illnesses that are directly tied to our nutritional deficiency. It's not a chronic disease, it's a chronic nutritional deficiency. And we, as the men of the house, who are the protectors of the house and the providers of the house, need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves by first making sure that we put the optimal fuel inside of our body. See, we can relate to that when we think about our Lexus or our Infiniti in the driveway. We put the best fuel in those vehicles, and then we put crap inside of our body. And then we wonder why we get sick and die. We don't get old and die anymore. We get sick and die, and something's wrong with that. So I think as it relates to wealth, sure. As we get older, most of our money goes into health care. Trying to figure out how to stay alive the last 16 months of your life. You're trying to stay alive. You're dumping all your money, all your resources, all your legacy wealth into trying to stay alive. That's a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake to put that pressure on your family, because nobody's going to say, no, don't do it. They want you to do everything you can to stay alive. You should have been doing all that in the first place. And as it relates to your relationships, I think we as men have to recognize that I don't want to get to a point where the woman that I love and committed myself to and for the rest of my life has now got to wipe my behind, roll me around, feed me and do all of these things for me because I didn't have the responsibility and I didn't have the discipline to see to it that I put the best optimal fuel inside of my body from the get. And I got to put some of that responsibility on you too, women, because if you all are feeding us crap because we like it, or feeding it because it's easy, or because you can get it on the way home, then you're contributing to a problem that you're going to inherit, because you're going to inherit having to take care of us as we deteriorate very rapidly behind eating stuff that we think is food, but it's not food. You can't eat at Crack Donald's and Murder King and Taco Hell and Wind Disease and Chokers and Bow Strangles and the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease and expect that you're going to get well. And I say this in closing, that the more chicken you eat, men, the more chicken you eat, the more Viagra you're going to need. And I'll say it again, the more chicken you eat, the more Viagra you're going to need. And when the Viagra no longer works for you anymore, your wife won't work for you anymore.
Oh my God. You said it all. You said it all.
That was well put together. There's another side that plagues our African American men, and that is the mental health piece. In most cases, individuals are walking around and they're upset. They're not getting the treatment that's needed because they're not dealing with the underlying issues. And I believe that that is where the mental health piece becomes so critical, because Johnny doesn't want to think about what has got him to a certain point and deal with those issues, such as Johnny may have grew up in a home that dad was not present. That brings on some type of depression. Johnny now goes to school, and at every phase of his life, he's still dealing with the same issue, and he becomes an adult, and he's upset, he's frustrated, getting into all types of trouble. But there's the one component that nobody has really tapped into, and that's the mental health piece. And so in my profession, even as I am a patient's rights advocate at one of the state hospitals, I advocate for the patients when it comes to the mental health piece. When the hospital wants to force medicate them, some of the questions I ask: what did they do to get here? Have you educated them on the medication that you're proposing that they're going to take? The other issue is the medication now has side effects. So you have taken them out of one environment and you've placed them in another environment, and you've given them a drug or a substitution, and they still have to deal with the underlying issue, such as it may be depression. Most individuals are labeled as bipolar. Well, in some cases, many of us may have mood swings on a typical day. It may not be the best day for you, but you're existing in a day. And so the problem that we have within the community, we don't seek the services because of the taboo. We don't seek the services because we think that individuals are going to laugh at us, or it's embarrassing to say that you have a mental health issue. And the problem in the community is you're not dealing with the underlying issues that are plaguing our black men. And what happens is, because of the mental health issue, they spill over into other areas of their lives. It causes them not to be present in the home. And when the man is not present in the home, 9 times out of 10, you have children who grow up not respecting the authority figure. You have young women who will start to look for love in all the wrong places because they did not have that father figure at home. And perhaps that could have been isolated if we had just taken the time to sit down and had a conversation and understand that, hey, you need to go and talk to somebody. You know, if you're stressed out, if you're depressed about the situation, if you've lost a loved one, grief is 9 times out of 10 one of the most things that will carry us in. There are 5 stages of grief, and we go through all of those stages at any given point in time. But the one stage that is consistent is the denial. Denial is present in every situation that we go through, and it's a part. If you're hurting, you are hurt, and if you hurt, you're going to hurt people. And a lot of people are hurting themselves because they have mental health issues, but they don't want to seek the help. Then the other issue is, in my studies, I found that transportation is a major piece that coincides with individuals not getting the help that they need for the mental health issues. I can't expect for you to go for treatment and you have no way to get there. I can't send you across town for you to go see a therapist and you have no way to get there. You have to catch 3 and 4 buses, or you have to catch an Uber, or you have, in Baltimore, we call it a hack. You have to catch a hack. You have to get there by any means necessary, but those means aren't really workable in your situation. So the mental health piece is very important. And I encourage everyone, if you don't have a therapist, get a therapist. But make sure that it's someone that you can trust, and make sure that you're in it to get an understanding of who you really are, because we all have different sides that we present to everyone that we come in contact with. Each one of us that are sitting in this room, that are listening, we all have a side to us that we present at work, we present at church, we present in our relationships. But at the end of the day, the underlying issue still remains the same. You're depressed, you're stressed out, you're bothered, you don't know what to do. And the only way that you learn how to get through your situation is that you have to be willing to talk about it. You have to seek the services. And so there are mental health providers out there. Seek the services. If you're not really sure, you have insurance. On the back of your insurance card, there's a 1-800 number. You can actually contact them to find out how would you find a provider. But the key is that you must first admit, hey, there's an issue. Something's making me angry. Something's making me upset. I'm stressed out. I'm depressed. I can't pay my bills. Depression is far beyond you just taking a pill. It's seasonal, it's situational. And most of us, we don't get the services because we are ashamed and we are embarrassed of what people are going to think or feel about us.
So I have a question for you. Are you able to hear me, or do I need to get the mic? Okay. This question is interchangeably between the both of you all. Dr. Baruch talked a lot about, well, as a naturopathic educator, when a lot of times with men, they don't seek mental health services because of the stigma with mental health services. Most of the times when you hear mental health services, especially in our culture, it's automatically assumed that you're crazy, which mental health services has taken a different turn. It's not about being crazy, it's more about prevention. However, medication is a very real aspect of mental health services. So as a naturopathic practitioner, how do you counsel a person to seek mental health services, but help them to eliminate having to possibly use the medication portion of mental health services? How would you counsel a person against, having to take that? Because in some cases, I always say that every profession has to stay in business. Would you agree? And this is just real talk, right? So sometimes when you go see a mental health specialist, a psychiatrist or whatever, a lot of times they will administer medications that really aren't necessary. Like, I'll just be open and honest. When I went through post-traumatic stress disorder, after I had a set of twins after the age of 40, I went to go see a therapist because I felt like I was going crazy. Well, the first thing they wanted to do was give me medications, and I was like, because I'm in that field, I'm not taking that. I don't need medications. But it didn't stop them from trying to push it. I knew that I was in a different place. I'm in my 40s now. Babies, I can't sleep at night. Well, you know what? I need help. So I just need to talk and try to figure out a plan that's going to be sufficient for me. So how would you counsel a person who may be afraid to seek mental health services because they don't want to be medicated? And then to you, when you're trying to advocate, or when you are trying to tell a person, hey, this is a healthy part of you processing life, having that stigma, or being aware that the stigma is, I'm not crazy, I don't need medication. That's usually where the conversation stops, especially with men. The first thing they say, I don't need to go talk to nobody about my problems. They don't know me, right, men? Hello? So how do you address that in an effective way to get a person to open up and see that I need more than prayer? We'll start with you first.
All right, great. I like your short questions.